We should have a really good session. Mika, did you get my voicemail? I think it was last week. Okay, we're going to go ahead and start. And today, the things that we need to watch out for. Mika, it was the same day that you called me, I left you a voicemail. I had left my phone out in the office and I was inside. So just give me a call after this. Okay, today at 8:30 we have unemployment claims. It will create high volatility and it can change market direction. We also have the federal chairman Yellen speaking at 8:30. Then at 10 o'clock this morning we have ISM manufacturing PMI. Okay, now really pretty much today I think we're going to have an easy day. Let's see, how do I want to do this? Shrink this up some. That's not what I want. That's what I want. I'm going to go through gold. Now, gold on the 1440, the ATR is red. You're in a downtrend. Now, when I did this, the ATR was blue. On the 720, it's now trying to flip that ATR, okay? The ATR on the 180 is red, and you're also red on the 45-minute. Now, after I did this presentation this morning, we did have the magenta peak, and you can see that it tried to pull back to the ATR. What stopped it? The 12-minute congestion dot. So this is one of the most important reasons to have this updated trend is this congestion dot. It's phenomenal, okay? So the analysis really on gold is short once that retracement completes, and it did, but watch out that you could have this potential bounce here on the 720. Now right now it looks like it's going to go down, so just be aware that it could very well come back up here and start to bounce up to this congestion dot. Everybody understand gold? Okay, let's go over to crude. I think is the next market this morning. Crude, the 1440, the ATR is red, and you are breaking that congestion dot. But this is a 1440. Okay, so during the day, this could come down, and then it could go back up. You just need to watch for that, okay? The 720 is red. The 180 is red. You're now at 50.12. Over here on the 45-minute, you are at 73.78. This tells us we should get a retracement back to the ATR. Okay, if the magenta peak does come in, and you should have a line in the sand already marked on your chart, which would be, I would say, about here. If it comes in at 99.17, you're probably going to get a magenta peak. It's going to retrace back to the ATR. If that happens, you could take a long position on the 3-minute. It's a Buddha trade. That means it flips ATR, comes back, tests the ATR, does it on diverging volume, then you can enter. What would I be looking for to see if that retracement is going to complete? The key is going to be on the 12-minute. It will come up and flip this ATR, but if it develops that congestion dot and that congestion dot holds, you won't see the retracement all the way up here. You'll only get it to the congestion dot. Everybody understand that? All right, let's move down to the Dow. And the Dow and the NASDAQ look pretty much the same this morning when I was looking at them. You're up on the 1440, you're up on the 720, you're up on the 180. Now the 180 is at 55.27. We had this flat peak here that said, okay, this top is going to be tested. It was tested, It could make another magenta peak now, okay? You do have over on the 45 minute, you have this double top formation, and that tells me it's going to come down. The key to this one is if the ATR is going to hold it up, okay? If the ATR holds it up, this peak will not come in. The line in the sand on this one would be about here, 16,499. If it comes in, you're probably going to get a magenta peak, okay? If you do get a magenta peak, then you're going to be going short, okay? But that magenta peak has to come in, and it's not there yet. Now, over on the NASDAQ, you can see that this is on the way up to the congestion dot over here. You're bouncing off of the ATR on the 720. You've already broken through the congestion dot on the 180. You are retracing back to the ATR here. There was no magenta peak there, okay? It's just retracing back to the ATR. That tells me it's trying to find an area that will support price to go up further. It seems to have found it on the 12-minute congestion dot. You do want to see that it can clear this ATR right here. Now remember, we have unemployment at 8:30 this morning, okay? Because we have unemployment at 8:30 this morning, it could change tremendously these lower time frames, okay? Now, any questions about the NASDAQ? I think it's going to be a pretty good day, but again, that's just my opinion, guys, okay? Now, before we get into binary options, which is something new that we're going to do today, I wanted to go over, we have updated the market analyzers. We also updated the volume indicator, the directional volume indicator. And let me show you what we did. We didn't make any major changes, but what does happen, because we have to have so much data on the directional volume indicator, and it depends on, your CPU, how much CPU power you have. Not everybody has the same amount. So right here under historical, you can set this to false, okay? So that way, when you do that, it only builds on the live edge of the market instead of going back and loading all of that data, which can really slow down NinjaTrader, okay? It's a lot of data that we're actually manipulating in this volume indicator, and I want to make sure everybody knows that. Now you can see that we're getting peaks on the Dow 180. We're also getting peaks on the 12-minute, the Euro, the crude, the ES, and the Dow as well, okay? Now, are these magenta peaks? The only magenta peaks are on the Dow, the dollar, no, I'm sorry, not the dollar, the crude, the Euro, and that's it. The Aussie, just looking at this, you've got a 12-minute ADX value of 81. That's going to pull back, which means it's going to go up. This actually gives the way the template is set up, guys, is you get the DMI in the first column, the ADX line in the second column, and then this is the peak column here. Sorry, it's going to change now. Got them linked. Okay. Now, if there is a peak, okay, it will appear in this column, and it will be in purple and white like you can see in these columns over here, okay? Yes, I am going to put it for the annual members on the blog with the videos, Chris. So if you have NinjaTrader, you can, just simply download everything in the zip package, unzip it. Excuse me. I'm doing a lot of videos to show y'all how to do that, because you have to remove the THD indicators and then re-import them. So we do have a lot of market analyzer windows. We have the meter window that's been updated. We have the ADX values. We also have the trend. In the trend, each one goes on its own separate time frame. And right up here at the top of the column, you do see this is a 3-minute previous bar trend. And if I stretch it out, you can see the entire column heading. I'm just trying to get a lot onto one screen for y'all to see. Okay? And, you know, of course, if you get a wide bar, it would be here. Potential entry would be here. Now, in NinjaTrader, I decided just to put potential entry there because I don't want people going in just randomly taking a trade because it says, you know, a long ATR entry. So I want to discourage people from doing that, and the way I did that was just to simply put potential entry in there, so that way you have to look at the chart, okay? Don't want to confuse anybody. Does everybody understand that? Now, as soon as I get all of these up on the blog, if you are an annual member and you have the NinjaTrader tools, then you can go in and do this and download the updates. Okay, we have not had any updates on TradeStation or any updates on multi-charts. This only affects NinjaTrader itself. Okay, now how many people in the room have heard of binary options? Do you trade them? Okay, how many of you in the room trade binary options? Okay, they are really cool, Jerry, and I know that you trade Forex, and I would rather trade binaries on the Forex. Okay. Nadex is, in my opinion, from all the research I've seen, Nadex, for me, is one of the best ones. Okay. Binary options are very similar to a regular option, okay, in that you are purchasing a contract and you are projecting that it will either go up or down, okay, a lot like credit spreads because you have limited profit potential there. Now, when I first started looking into binaries, and that's why I've been so quiet this week, I've been doing binaries all week. When you're first looking into binaries, you can see all kinds of brokers, and a lot of the brokers are telling you, hey, come trade with us, open an account for up to $5,000 and we'll match it, instantly giving you a $10,000 account. When you read the fine print, it says you have to complete 20 trades first. How many of you can sit through 20 losing trades? Let's call it like it is. I mean, just like this, just snap of your finger, you've lost 20 trades. Well, most people can't, and that's what they're betting on. Okay? It doesn't mean that they're a scam, okay? It just means that they know they have you at a disadvantage, okay? And the reason that you are at a disadvantage is because, number one, the charts that they are offering that you look at are horrendous. I'm just going to pull one up and show it to you. Not from them, but I'm going to do it in NinjaTrader. And we don't want nothing on it. And we don't want that. This is what their charts look like. Okay? Now, this is a lot of binary options, and I'm just going to put a line on here. Okay? I think price is going to go up, and it's got to do it within 60 seconds. Okay, this is a 30-second chart. So within 1 minute, I'm either going to lose or win. Okay, and let me get something open real quick. Now, if you were actually trading this, this is what the screen would look like. If I believed it was going to go higher, I would click higher, and it would have an expiration date here. You may or may not be able to change this expiration date, okay? Then you place, I would call it your bet amount. They call it a stake, okay? So say you're risking $10. They're going to pay up to 95%, which gives you $19.50, okay? Now, most traders say, well, I'm doubling my money, so I will make money with a 50-50 risk to reward ratio, okay? Probably if you did 700 trades, at the end of 700 trades, you'd probably have a 50-50 plus or minus about 3%, okay? And if you want all those details, it'll come out in the article and I'll send it out. But this one, see, in this case, is a 30-second chart, and yes, you did it. Now, let's see if I can take this down, because theirs is even faster. Theirs is more like a 1-second chart. Okay. So in this case, is it going down or up, down or up, down or up? And this is what you're doing for 60 seconds, okay? Now, some of them will be 10 minutes. Some of them will be 15 minutes. Some of them could be 20 minutes. That is all right here at the expiration. That's really what you're looking at. These kind of binaries, I do not trade, okay? The first thing when you're looking at a binary broker, the first thing that I look at, and it's not because they're scammers, don't misunderstand that. It is the odds are in their favor and they know it, okay? So if you see a binary option broker and they say, okay, we're going to double your money if you put some money in here, chances are you're going to lose with that company, okay? Because what they're betting on is you cannot withstand the drawdown, okay? I am a pretty good trader. I would not trade with those companies. I know other really good traders that would, okay? So it's a lot in your mentality. I do not have the mentality to do that. I like to call it crack trading. Now, what I do is I go with Nadex, okay? And I'm in the process of opening my account with Nadex now. Number one, Nadex is, their home office is here in the U.S., so they're governed by the laws of the U.S. But number two, I can change and exit my trade if I want to. That makes a world of difference to me. And you have regular charts. You don't have those line on close. You know, line on close, you can't read a lot there other than the closing price. You don't have any option for indicators that I could find in most of them, okay? So you would have to have NinjaTrader over here and the broker that you chose, their platform on another screen. Remember, this would be 60-second trading. That's a lot in 60 seconds, okay? And most people, by the way, do the 60-second trading. I can't. I don't have the personality for it. All right. So what Nadex does, and let's see. I'm going to bring up the Nadex screen, and we're going to, oh, yeah, that one. Let's see here. There we go. Okay, now this is a simulator, okay? It's not my live account. So what you're looking at is indices binary. Now this is, when you first start using it, very intimidating, but you kind of get used to the way that they do it. So let's go into daily, okay? And let's find where price is right now on the NASDAQ. Now, number one, I would not be looking at the 3-minute, and I would not be looking at the 12-minute if I was going to trade until 4:15 p.m. Okay, this is a higher time frame, so I'm probably going to be over here looking at the 45 and the 180, because I think that's pretty much going to determine the trend for the day. So I actually believe by the end of today that price will more than likely go back and test 35.85, and price is currently at 35.81. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say, okay, where's 35.85? Well, they don't have it, but they have 35.84. This is where it gets a little bit complicated. If I'm going to take a long position here, where's my other screen? And you're not going to understand it if you don't see this. Okay, I believe price will go higher. Okay, this is the premium that I'm going to pay. I have to subtract that from 100 to figure out what my profit potential is. Okay, so let's go back and let's look at 35.84. Right now it's at 49.50, right? So if I believe it's going up, and it has a little error right there if that confuses you between the bid and the offer. It has a little error there. I would click this and it tells me my maximum profit is $50.50. My maximum loss is $49.50. Okay, pretty much a 1-to-1. Okay, we're going to place the order and immediately you're in. Okay. Now, you already have a loss of $7. What is the maximum loss on this trade? Maximum loss is right here, 49. Okay? If it gets to 49, you've lost $49. Okay? Now, sometimes it will get there and it will bounce back. Okay? Does everybody understand that? For example, this is a weekly that I've done. This one, you'll see a little minus here when it goes beyond 25.5. Then it bounces back and you start seeing profits again, or losses, whichever way it goes. Does everybody understand that so far? So you can see it's a lot like doing credit spreads without the need of doing 2 contracts. Okay, it's already limited your risk. Okay, now let's say that we thought it was going down. No, you don't have to have stops, because this right here is your stop. Okay, now this is what's different with Nadex, Chris. If I said, ooh, I don't like the way that's going, I can click here and I can exit, and what I'm going to lose is that $6.50. Understand? Because I was able to get out of it with only $6.50. Now, Nadex does charge 90 cents per trade. So I paid $1.80 for that one trade. Now, if you trade more than 10 contracts, meaning 11 contracts and up, they limit the charge to $9. So some of you really big traders that like to trade a high number of contracts, you would only pay $9. Does everybody understand that? Okay. Now, let's say that I thought it was going to go down. Okay. Then let's look at Let's see if I can find one that's real high. Okay. Right here, do you see this is 92.50? It tells you it's going down. This is your profit potential, $92.50. The maximum you can make on any of these is $100, and that's if you get in at zero, okay? In this case, because I believe it's going to go down, I have to subtract this number from 100, and then that gives me my risk. My profit potential is actually this number. Does everybody understand that? And this is what makes it hard, because you're not used to seeing this and you're like, oh my God, what is this? So this one, my profit potential is $94. My risk is 6, because 100 minus 94 is 6. That's my risk. You're doing a binary option to the downside. You're actually shorting the option, believing that it will go down. So if I'm wanting to trade binary options using Nadex, the most important thing to remember for me, right, it is, Stuart, except you're limited to $100. Remember, it only goes from 0 to 100. So the maximum, if you get in at 0, is 100. And I don't think you would ever go in at 0. What I look at is, okay, if I'm going long, this is my risk. That's $90 of risk, and I've got $10 profit target. Does that make sense to take that trade? If you're risking $90 to make $10, should you take the trade? Right. No should be everybody's answer, because you will blow your account. You have no risk to reward there. Okay? So I know on the up arrows, okay, I want to see low numbers. Okay? On the downside, I want to see high numbers. Okay? So that means these that are at 52, 66, 67, these are not the ones that I want, because I'm limiting my profit target. Do y'all understand that? Now, for those that are interested, they do have bull spreads. I don't do those. Okay, again, go back to this. This is your profit potential, okay? So if you're short, this tells you what your profit potential is on the short side. I would say profit area is there, okay? Over here, this is your risk. Actually, this would be your risk area. You just have to calculate it differently. And let's see here. Stretch this out some. and this is profit potential from here. This is your profit potential on the selling side. Now, and again, if you look at these little arrows, if it's going down, okay, you're going short at the bid. Look at this one. It's counting down from 100, okay? So in this area is what your risk is. For example, 93. 93 minus 100 minus 93 is what? 7. That's your risk on that trade at 35.36. If you believe it's going to go under 35.36. If you believe it's going to go up, okay, this is your risk. So you're willing to make $3.50 because you're going to pay $97.50. That's your risk. Do you understand now, Wee? If you're going on the bid, you're shorting the market, okay? And 100 minus 84 is what? 16? That's your risk. All right. Let's go back and look at the one I did on the weekly. Okay. That's this one. My average price is $25.50. That's the price where I got in at. Okay. That means at $25.50, okay, that's the most I can lose. I entered this on Monday, okay, and it's gone up and down ever since Monday. Y'all know that, okay? I believe it was Monday I entered. Okay, it expires tomorrow. Now, I can let it expire, okay, and if it expires, let's say at expiration, my profit is $50. That's what I've made, $50. Or I've lost $25.50. That is the most I can lose. Does everybody understand that? And let's say, oh man, look, it's coming down. It's not going to reach 35.90 to exit. I would just click on that and actually do it. Yes, I am going to record it down and post it. I'm sorry, I can't talk this morning. They are really, really cool. And one of the reasons I didn't like binaries before, Charles, is you're not going to get me trading a 60-second chart. I mean, I don't have the personality for it, and I know you have to really do a lot of trades in 60-second trades, even 5-minute trades, you know. I'm just not that type of trader. I'm not that aggressive, and you do have to be really aggressive, and you really, really have to stick to a trading methodology and only enter there. Okay, it's not the type of trading that I do. These, I have more control over it. Okay, when I was looking at crude, and you can see these are categorized. You have indices binaries, then you have Forex binaries, you have commodity binaries, you even have events like yesterday, well, okay, this morning, they have the jobless claims, okay? So show it in the market. Nobody thinks it's going to be that. Let's see, what do they project? Oh, it's already come out. That's why. All right, let's see if they have another one. No. All right, tomorrow we have non-farm payrolls, okay? So these people are saying, okay, In this case, it's going to be greater than 260,000. In this case, it's going to be lower than 230,000. Okay? To me, this is straight up bets. Okay? Yeah, it's jobless claims. And yesterday the Fed announcement was there, Dave. And all you're doing is betting on whether it's greater than or equal to or less than or equal to. Okay? I don't do these. If you wanted to do them, I guess you could. The commodities, I haven't seen a lot of trading on crude oil, which I thought was kind of ironic. I thought it would have a lot more than is there. But do you see how you've only got really 3 here that are popping off? To me, that was a little bit unusual for crude, but it does end at 230, and I didn't like that either. You could do weeklies on crude. You know, and this is the thing you have to think about, and this is one of the things I've been looking at all week. You see we have a magenta peak on the Dow, okay? What if we had a scenario where, okay, on the Dow we're at, let's say 90 on a higher time frame, 80 or 90? Could you go in a weekly option anticipating that to come down? Sure. You're going to get it for very, very low risk, I'll tell you that. Why? Because the ADX is projecting it. Understand? Does everybody understand that? It depends on what you're able to enter it from, Dave. And let's see. Okay, let's look at the 6B. Okay. The ADX line is up here at 72, right? Yes, I'm going to be trading the futures on the Nadex. All right, now let's go over to the Forex binaries. And we know that this is based on the British pound US dollar, right? And this is on a 180. So let's say that we're going to take a daily at 11 p.m. Okay? Now, if this magenta peak comes in, Dave, I would say that price would at least come down to 68.60, right? That would be right here. Okay, if it comes down to 64.40, which is down here, I could get a better risk to reward ratio, but I know that ATR is going to move up. Are you with me so far, Dave? So I'm going to opt to take 68.60. I've got $20 of risk. My maximum profit is $80. It has to be there by 11 p.m. I've got 14 hours for that to play out. Now, anytime between this 14 hours, if I'm watching this, okay, right now I'm underwater $7. The maximum I can be underwater is 20, okay? So I can watch this all day long, and as long as that comes down, I'm good to go. Do you understand, Dave? Now, I know I've got $20 of risk. That means I want to see $40 at least, if possible. Now, what would make me exit early, Dave? We're expecting the magenta peak on the 180, right? What would make me exit early? Over here on the 45 minute, it's going to flip this ATR, right? And then if it doesn't flip with conviction, what happens? You get a congestion dot, right? And if it starts going back up to the congestion dot and I feel like, okay, I might lose my full 20, okay, I'm out. I can do that because I'm trading with Nadex. Not all of the binaries allow you to do that. Do you understand now, Dave? In other words, I don't have to be as precise as we have to be when we're trading the futures. Now, do you understand, Dave? And I mean, y'all really should be looking at risk to reward. I mean, I preach that all the time. So, that's right. That is all there. Now, you can bring up a chart if you click on here. And this is, again, it's a really nice feature. You can bring up the chart. They do have technical analysis. They do have different time frames that you can put it on, which is something that I don't see others doing. Okay. So I think that's really cool, and I guess that's one of the reasons I like them. I haven't seen a way to do that, Dan, as far as limit orders and stops and profit targets. There may be a way to do that in there. I don't know. You know me, I'm going to sit here 24 hours testing something. Now, the one thing they don't offer you is if you put in, $1,000, they're not going to match it. Okay? They do charge per trade. So, it's 90 cents per trade in, 90 cents per trade out. And again, some of the types of trades that I've been working on with it, well, I guess let's go back to the NASDAQ. Because on the NASDAQ, I believe that this would bounce up here to this congestion dot, okay? So I'm betting, that's not a good word, but I'm going to use it anyway, okay? I'm betting it will at least get to 3,600, and I put mine in at 3,590. I mean, you have a bounce off of the ATR here. You have a bounce off the ATR here. Because I'm doing this on a weekly chart, yeah, that's exactly what they are. And I'm giving it a week to do this. Anytime in between here, I could actually close it out with a profit. Would it be 1-to-1? Maybe not. But I could say, well, the Fed announcement came out. It wasn't like I wanted, so I'm going to get out of Dodge. Okay? I have that option. Now, most of you don't trade overnight because of margin requirements. You don't trade the higher time frames like the dailies or the weeklies or the 720s because you don't know how much risk you're going to have, right? Now you do. Does everybody understand that now? And I'll tell you right now, I would much rather trade this time frame here than try to trade this. And there's a lot of people that have the personality to trade this, but I'm not one of them. And I don't want to bring any of them up because, you know, I don't want to badmouth anybody, but with the recent scandals too, you know, with the some of the brokers going bankrupt and all, I'd much rather at least have my money in the U.S. and not in an offshore account. And they're very lucrative, especially to U.S. citizens, because they don't report to the IRS. So let's say that you have someone that is a crack trader and his winning percentage is 90%, okay? Yeah, they're going to do it. It's much easier to bet on a currency move knowing you have 20 to 50 on the line per contract than futures with unlimited. You're right. That's why I was looking into it, Dave. You know, it's like right now, do you see the British pound that we just entered? We're down to a loss of $3. They don't have to, depending on, you know, where they're located, they may not. And I found quite a few of them that, I mean, that was one of their benefits is that they did not report to the IRS, okay? So instantly that makes them very attractive to some U.S. citizens, not me, but some. I'm recording this, I have to put that in there. But, you know, again, I don't feel real safe like that. Nadex is within the U.S. They are going to report to the IRS if you have profits. They have to. They're inside the U.S. And the IRS is very strict on that. The market maker is working on a $5 bid offer spread, yeah. And, you know, I really like trading Forex this way because, I mean, I've got to the point where I could get my Forex risk down really, really low, okay? This is even lower now. That's right. Some of them are like that, George. And, you know, scam is a really, really harsh word, so I don't use it. If you can read the charts, I would rather do it your way versus being short and managing the option position. Yeah, I get bored with options because they are such long-term trades. Um, they're not real conducive to me. I've been able to make money, especially on the credit spreads, buying a lot of calls. But I tend to forget about my position. I'm really bad about forgetting about my position because, you know, I like to watch the market. I like to watch it move. And this one, for some reason, it doesn't bother me. I keep it up all day. It, it can be, and it can be even shorter, you know, you've got the 7 to 9, you've got 8 to 9, then you have daily 3 a.m., daily 7 a.m. You know, Dave, like a lot of times if you know that market's going to go up at 7 a.m., but you can't be there because you're on the train, you know, that would be an option for you to do. If you do the 45 and the 3, George, and what I would do on that is, you know, number one, I would be trading in the direction of the 45 minute, of course. And hold on. Where's my little 3-minute? It's basically the free money trade. Yes, this recording is going to be available. Okay. Um, let's see. Here's my little 3-minute. Okay. Now, you have to make sure there is no potential for a magenta peak, okay, on the 45-minute. But let's go back in time. Let's do a crosshair. And we're only going to look at the 3 in the 45, okay? We're going to put this on global. And we're going to put this on global. Okay, so let's go back. This is where the uptrend started, right? So we know that we're in an uptrend. All right, now let me come off of this to swerve on it. Okay, so you know you have come back to this ATR, George. Then you could actually take and buy the option with an anticipation of it reaching 35.67. Okay? So anything that was over this was gravy. And at that point, you're probably risking, I would say, maybe $20 to $30. There's no way to go back and look that I have found, George, but I've done a lot of these. I'll show you one I did. Well, I'll show you the chart. It was on the euro yen. I've done probably about 500 trades this week between the articles I was writing and testing some different things. I got to do a new chart because it's Forex. Hold on a minute. And I got to find out where it was. My biggest problem this week has been no way that can happen. And that's exactly how I felt. No way that could happen. And I was taking my profits too early. It was funny. I just didn't believe it could do it. They are monitored, I think, Dave, and it tells you on their website, but I think they're monitored by the CFTC. And this, it would not be good for someone that is just, a 3 or a 1-minute trader. I wouldn't suggest it for them. Let me load some more data. Yeah. Did I put volume on? Yep, I did. Okay. Let's go back 15 days in. Okay, this was one that I did. I actually called right here at the top. Do you see how you had that clear volume divergence? And I said, okay, remember what I told y'all this morning? When you get a flat magenta peak, it's going to go back and test that top. Then likely the next magenta peak will come in. That's what I figured here. Okay, so I said, okay, when this bar was formed, okay, I said this is going to come down probably to about 142.15. So I did a binary option on it. It went down, and then you got another one here, okay? And I was willing to wait for that because it was a lot of money. Now, I ended up doing, I believe I had a profit potential on that of, I believe it was $90, if I'm not mistaken. Only had a risk of 10, and I said, oh man, no way. There's no way you're going to make a complete $90 on that. So I went ahead and exited like around 40 and sat here and wished I had held it because I was literally out on this bar. And that was just because I knew that magenta peak was going to come in. And you're really, really limiting your risk on these. $90 was the maximum. Remember, at any time, the maximum you can make is 100, okay? That's the maximum you can make. And if I'm not mistaken on the euro yen, that magenta peak actually rolled over into, I believe it was the 180, I'm not sure. It depends on the binary that you go with as to what they pay out, okay? A lot of binaries, when you start doing searches on binary option brokers, a lot of them, they say they offer up to 95%. Average will be about 70%, okay? That's what your average will be. Maybe 73. The 95% is what, I believe that's what they do when it's high volatility. And gold, oh my God, gold works beautiful, beautiful on the binaries. With Nadex anyway, I don't know about the others. Crude, not so good. That's okay, Artemin. I am recording it and I'll put it up on the website. You know, I don't like to recommend any type of broker unless I feel that they are, number one, reputable, and number two, they're, you know, you have a shot at making money with them. And from what I've seen with Nadex, I'm opening an account with Nadex, so I feel pretty confident on it. But again, it's not what other binary brokers are doing. I'm not doing, you know, 1, 2, 3 minute charts. I'm not doing 60 seconds. You know, right now, and this is just an example. Remember, I have the weekly on the NASDAQ, right? Okay. Now we have a 45-minute, and it's pulled back to the ATR. I'm sitting here saying, okay, is it going to continue down or is it going to go up? Well, it looks like it's got diverging volume, doesn't it? Now, my next question is, what is the 180 doing? Okay. Where here is the 180. Is there any potential for a magenta peak? No. Okay. You've got the power of the 720 to the upside. You've got the power of the 1440 to the upside. I'm not going to exit right now. If I thought I was in danger, I could say, okay, I'm going to close this position. Did I make the 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio? No, I did not. But as we progress into the future, we all know things can change, and this gives me a chance to exit the position without having a loss. Does everybody understand that? In other binaries, you don't have that option. They do, some of them give you the option to double up, okay? I don't need to double up my losses, okay? One of the big things you're not supposed to do. But again, you know, in some respects, and one of the reasons I wanted to show this to y'all is it gives you, okay, here on the 1440, do you see how price was up here at the ATR? We know we're close enough, okay? And if we believed this was going to go back down and test this low, we could have probably got an option, a binary in here let's say around 3,600, okay? Then I have limited risk on a daily chart, and I could trade this on a weekly option, okay? And I don't think our risk would have been any more than $20 or $25 on that, okay? When's the last time you took a weekly option that was only $25? Thanks, Dave. I think it is as well. It just fits my system type. Because, you know, to me, everything is about risk to reward, everything. And I noticed in Stocks and Commodities magazine this week, Dave, Dr. Elder had a article in there where he was saying the biggest reason that most traders lose money is, number one, they only trade one instrument, and he believes in diversification. And this, to me, gives you that diverse portfolio. But also, traders, you know, they don't look at risk to reward. You know, his statistics, I believe he was using the Monte Carlo system, and on the I believe the risk to reward was 1 to 1.5, and if you did that over 1,000 trades, of course you make money. That's right. It is, because it's fixed, you know. But now Nadex isn't out there trying to tell you how much money you can make. I guess they're more like me, you know. They're like, hey, there's a possibility that you can make money. A lot of it depends on the trader, but we're giving you the best set of tools for binary options that we can. You know, I'm not entering options right in the middle of a market report. You know, typically on this one, now that I've kind of got everything down pat where I want it, I would be actually entering when the markets are pretty calm, so you're not going to get a lot of slippage. And, you know, what I have seen, if you have a market that is moving really, really fast, then you just don't get in. Your market order sits there. It's not filled. I've had a couple of times that happened to me, even in the simulator, because remember, I was kind of working it out. So, you know, again, on the British pound, you're now down $1.50, okay? If you have changed your market outlook, you could easily exit that trade with just $1.50 loss. And of course, that is one contract. Also, for those of you that have subscriptions to Stocks and Commodities, they've got a couple of excellent articles in this month's release. One is why you shouldn't go into trading rooms and trade with the moderator, believe it or not. And the other one is Dr. Elder's article. Now, do you see how on the NASDAQ, do you see how the congestion dot is actually working to keep price up right now? What's the next important thing when it reaches the ATR? I think it's actually going to go through that ATR, but that is, right now, it's just an opinion that I have. In the beauty of it, okay, do you see how the market analyzer, we're counting down the ticks? Now, right now, I've got this on a 3 and a 12. We could do that on dailies and weeklies. We could do it on the 180s. We could do it on the 720s and say, okay, we have 20 markets that's at the ATR, okay? and then we could go in and take a binary option from a higher time frame with very, very limited risk. And I love limited risk. Yeah, it's got strong volume right now. That's why I think I think more than likely it will come back up and break that ATR, because there's no possibility of a magenta peak over here because we're not magenta down here. Um, the magenta peak is going to come in on the 180, okay? British pound. You actually were testing the ATR, no, on the 12 minute. You haven't tested the ATR here yet. I think it will actually break this ATR because we're coming down. So far it's been on high volume. And this is what I would be monitoring for that option trade that we did. But these trades do go out in time. And that's the one thing I've had to kind of modify. You don't look at the 3 minute as much. Because you're really not doing 30-minute trades. You really have to be grounded in these higher time frames. If you're not grounded in the higher time frames, then Nadex is not the binary option for you. That's more like crack trading. Any questions this morning? Well, I tell you, when I first looked at the Nadex platform, I almost said, no way. This is way too complicated. Like, you know, I'm sure a lot of other people do when they look at my stuff and they go, oh, way too complicated for me. And then I actually went back and said, no, I'm going to actually watch the videos and learn it. I felt like a new trader there for a moment, okay? And they do have some good videos online. It will be this week, Mika. I'm still working on some videos. And the reason I'm working on the videos is because you have to remove the tools and then re-import the tools. And I'm doing some more market analyzers. So, and I've got to update the documentation as well. I just about had it this weekend, and I said, nah, I'm just going to go ahead and wait and do some more videos. And we were having real bad storms yesterday and the day before, so I didn't get much done. Well, Dan, that's what I like about it. On Nadex, as far as I know, it's live, Artemin. You know, I'm going to use NinjaTrader to identify whatever it is I'm looking for. So I really haven't compared the prices on the charting. I know on the bid ask, yes, it's live, but on the charting, I haven't sat down and compared it, you know, tick by tick. I will say this. For example, I believe it's gold. Well, on this one, it kind of moves the same. There's no real big difference on gold. You see it's 1273 is by points. On other binaries really threw me for a loop because it was, you know, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I was like, what? Gold doesn't move that way. The option does. And no, they're not using the ETF as an option. They're using, the gold contract, but they're moving totally different. And remember, in NinjaTrader also, you don't have, on Forex, you don't have that fifth digit, which I love, by the way. And on some of the binaries, you do have the fifth digit. And that really, if you're doing, remember, they're doing, instead of doing this one where you can enter and exit when you want to, they're doing this, either lower or higher. This is actually crude that I took the snapshot of. And it's either moving lower or higher, okay? And then when they give you that extra digit in there, it will make a difference between you being positive and you being negative. Because, for example, let's say that gold closes at, on your chart, it closes at 1292.5. But actually, when you said higher, this digit was 3. Well, you lost because it closed at 54, in between the 5 and the 6, 0.5 and 0.6. I've done a lot of investigation into the binaries this week, and I've done a lot of simulators just to see how they work, because some of them, it was like, man, anybody would want to go open up an account with them because they make it so lucrative. No commissions, a lot like Forex, no commissions and da-da-da-da-da-da, and for someone that's really, really been, wants to make it as a trader, they're feeding off of that psychology. Because let's face it, if you say, okay, I've got $3,000 to open this account, and if I open it with them, they're going to give me $6,000, and that means instead of trading 2 contracts, I can trade 6 contracts. And you've all thought it before. But, and I guess math is like my best friend. Okay, because this is what I look at. Let's say they had 10 clients, okay, and they're giving each client $3,000, right? That means they're paying out $30,000, okay? And we already know that at least 95% of traders lose. So let's say 10 times 9. That means 9 traders are winning no, that means half a trader is winning, I'm sorry. And the rest of them are paying into the broker. Okay. Now do you see how you're in money on the British pound US dollar? What's your profit target? Somebody tell me what the profit target is. What was the risk on that trade? I told you. What was the risk on it? The risk was 20. So your profit target should be what? Well, it could be 80, Chris, minimum. I would try to get 40 out of this. Does that mean if it goes down to 29, I would let all of that go back? No, it tells me, hey, I need to look at my chart. Are we at an area where it's serving as support and resistance? Do I want to wait through that? What else could we do, guys? we could actually enlarge this, and I don't have it on here. And I want that to be red. And line color, yeah. Line color blue. We'll put it this blue. And point of control, we're going to make magenta. Fuchsia's good. All right, now we can take and place the logic 1 on here. And we could actually monitor it with a logic 1 as well. And right now it looks like it may continue down. We could put it on the 180. If I could get to the end of it. I don't think I've got logic 1 on here though. No. We could actually look at this from on this uptrend from, I would say, here to here and see where the volume nodes are on it. Okay. That would be another way to do it. Go ahead and put it on here. And I hope I don't lock up. Okay. So from here to here. Okay, this is your point of control, which is at 68.70. And your low is down here at 68.39. But it's going to get to the ATR before that. ATR being at 68.49. So I would just keep this on here and see where it develops the next high volume profile. Because I would expect it to come down to here, which is coinciding. This yellow here is your point of control. Okay? So I would be wanting to see this come down to here. And the one thing that we have done is just limited the risk on our potential here. Okay? Now, another thing that you can say is, okay, it's at the ATR, and this ATR might be holding it up, right? Because now, oh my gosh, we're potentially getting in volume divergence, and I'm getting nervous. What should happen on the 45-minute, guys? You should get a bounce up, and it should not be on high volume, okay? It should actually make a lower high, okay? That's what I would be waiting to see. Now, with the ADX at 63.58, I would anticipate a pullback to this, which is actually going to be down to about 68.90. So it could move about 20 ticks against me and then come down. Now, if I believe that, if I didn't want to lose any money at all, just exit your trade. You're negative $1. I had a lot of people that were asking me about binaries, Dan. And I knew the 60-second trade binaries. And I wanted to go out and see if there's any binaries that, you know, were better for us to trade. And that's when I looked at Nadex. I mean, I've been researching this since last Thursday. One day this week, I did over 400 trades in one morning, and that was on the crack trading. Because I wanted to figure out the binaries, basically. Oh, yeah. That's my problem. I get a little bit too focused sometimes. Yeah, obsessed is a good word, too. But, you know, statistically, all right, let me ask you this in the room. How many negative trades would you take before you give up on a system? And be honest. How many negative trades would you take? And I mean, you know, you have a 50-50 chance of being right on some of these binary options. 10 to 15. Probably not many. 5 times 3 in a row. 15? Not many. Statistically, do you know how many you would need for the 50-50 ratio to come into play? Take a wild guess. A fragile ego, and that's what they're betting on too, Arteman. A fragile ego. You need 645 trades. 645 before you can say that 50-50 does not work or that it's skewed in their favor. Yeah, most people, and this is what traders don't realize. And one of the things when I was researching, well, it's not necessarily losers, Dave, but you have to have 645 trades before the 50-50 has a chance of being accurate. That's your sample size, would be 645. And then it would be plus or minus, I believe it's 5%. Right. And let's face it, we all, right, 645 before you could make the determination whether the 50-50 is going to hold true or not, okay? I don't know of any trader that would do that. None of them, unless they were just on a really wild winning spree. I mean, I wouldn't be able to do 645 in, okay, 645, that means at least about 300 of those are going to be negative because it's 50-50, right? And that 300 could be the first 300 trades I took could be 50-50 to the losing side. I'm not even sure that I could do that. And this is the point that Dr. Elder also in a roundabout way makes in his article in Stocks and Commodities is traders are not geared to do that. Traders actually have more of a mindset of a gambler, okay? In other words, if I have a 50-50 chance that this is going to win or lose, and I've had 10 losers in a row, then that means that more than likely the next 10 are going to be winners because it's a 50-50, right? That's the gambler's mentality. They call it the gambler's fallacy. It's the law of small numbers, when actually the sample size is way too small to even determine what your 50-50 is. And the brokers know it. That's what puts them at the advantage. They know that somebody like me is going to do 400 trades and, you know, 300 of them are going to be negative, and it's a scam. It takes statistical discipline, that's right. But trading in general takes discipline. And it's so much easier to say, oh, it don't work. And, you know, the one thing, and this is what traders don't realize. When you start to trade, you always see the beautiful equity curve to the upside. You don't see the drawdowns. And there will be drawdowns. Discipline is the worst thing in the world in trading. Discipline in psychology. Indicators are easy. It's the discipline in the psychology that makes it hard. It's a lack of control. And, you know, again, this goes back to some of the binaries that give you no control other than higher or lower. You know, I can't even deal with that. I've got to have control over my losses, and I've got to have control over my winners. And with those binaries, you have absolutely no control. Once you're in, that's it. You're in. And, you know, to me, it's a lot like playing blackjack at the tables. And when you go and you look at their platform, it reminds me of blackjack. It's either up or down, okay? And some of them will let you double up, just like blackjack. Now, I have won at blackjack, and I've walked away with winnings from blackjack because I had the discipline to walk away and not say, oh my God, look at this. You know, I bet $5 and I walked away with all this money, you know. Nope. Ain't gonna happen. And that's, I guess, again, it's mathematics are in my favor. All right, guys, I've preached enough today. The market's opening, and I got to go trade. I hope everyone has a wonderful day, a wonderful trading day. Well, thank you, Charles. Nadex does allow you to open up a simulator without opening up an account. So, you know, just go and open up one. Don't focus on lower time frames. Actually focus on the higher time frames, guys. Okay? Nothing new there. Yeah, 30-day trial. I thought it was 2 weeks. Some of them are 2 weeks. Some of them you have to open up an account before you do it, and that just makes me think there's a conspiracy theory there. You know, we love our conspiracy theories.